Okay, let's talk about the housing market, because something pretty wild is happening. This is a story about a massive, and I mean massive, price cut. A really high-stakes gamble by one of the biggest players in the game, and what it could mean for anyone out there thinking about buying or selling a home.
All right, I'm just going to throw a number at you right away. Negative 25%. Yeah, you heard that right. In a market where all we've heard for years is prices going up, 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 what in the world could be dropping by a full quarter?
So this isn't some made-up number. We're talking about Lennar, one of the biggest home builders in the entire country. That's how much they've actually cut their average sales price since the market peaked. This isn't just a little trim here and there. This is a full-blown aggressive strategy.
So you got to be asking, why would they do something so drastic? Well, it all boils down to the insane pressure cooker that is today's housing market. That whole affordability crisis, it's not just a buzzword anymore. For millions of people, it is seriously hit home.
I mean, this slide really lays out the perfect storm that home buyers are stuck in. You've got people trapped by these massive affordability problems, consumer confidence is shaky at best, and this is all happening right after what some have called an obscene price explosion back in 21 and 22. It created what's been bluntly described as a screwed-up housing market. You know, something just had to give.
And that's where Lennar comes in with their big idea. Faced with a market where buyers were pretty much tapped out, they made a massive bet. Just slash the prices. Do whatever it takes to keep selling homes.
And look, we don't have to guess why they're doing this. This quote from their own report lays it all out plain and simple. Their strategy is all about maintaining volume. They care more about selling a lot of homes than selling them at super high prices. They're focused on adapting, cutting their own costs, and just trying to make houses more affordable so they can keep that sales engine chugging along. Okay, so how exactly are they pulling this off? It's basically a three-part plan. First, they're straight up targeting lower price points, building and selling cheaper homes from the get-go. Second, they're getting really aggressive about cutting their own construction costs. And third, and this is a big one, they're throwing in major incentives. We're talking about things like mortgage rate buydowns, where they'll literally pay to lower your interest rate for the first few years. That's a huge deal for buyers.
And the result? Whoa! This timeline says it all. I mean, just look at these numbers. Back at the peak in late 2022, their average home sold for almost $500,000. Fast forward to late 2025, and boom, that number plummets to $386,000. And they're even telling people they expect it to drop more, down to around $370,000. That is a gigantic drop in a ridiculously short amount of time.
But there's always a but, right? Making homes cheaper for you and me comes at a really steep price for them. A move this bold isn't free, and you can see the damage it's doing when you look at their finances. This table right here, it's brutal. Their gross margin, that's the basic profit they make on each house, has just been in a total freefall. Look, it went from a really healthy 28% during the boom times all the way down to just 17% in late 2025. What that means is for every dollar they bring in, they're keeping way, way less. They are just bleeding profit on every single home they sell. And the overall impact on their finances, it's just staggering. I mean, look at these year-over-year drops. Their operating earnings sliced by more than half. Their net income, the final profit they walk away with, down a whopping 55%. And you can bet Wall Street noticed. Their stock price got hammered, dropping almost 40% from its peak.
And this right here is the craziest part. The big paradox in all of this. Their plan to sell more homes? It actually worked. They sold 4% more of them. But, and it's a huge but, because the prices were so much lower, their total revenue actually went down by almost 7%. Think about that. They're working harder, selling more, and making less money. They're running faster just to fall behind.
All right, so let's pull back for a second. What does all this aggressive price cutting from a giant like Lennar mean for everybody else? Well, it's creating this really weird fractured market. It's like a tale of two completely different housing markets happening at the same time.
This slide just lays out that divide perfectly. On one side, you've got new home sales, which are actually doing okay because big builders like Lennar can afford to cut prices and offer these sweet incentives to get people in the door. But then you look at the other side, existing home sales. Regular people trying to sell their houses. Those sales are plummeting. And it makes sense, right? How can you, as an individual seller, possibly compete with a massive corporation that's willing to basically throw its profit margin out the window just to close a deal? It creates this huge power imbalance.
So this brings us to the really big question. Is this what we should expect now?
Is this the new normal? Are we headed for an era where big builders just keep cutting prices to keep things moving? Let's unpack what this could mean for the future of housing.
Okay, so what are the big things you should take away from all this? First, big builders are getting aggressive about the affordability problem, and price is their main weapon. Second, they're willing to sacrifice a ton of profit to keep sales numbers up. Third, this is splitting the market into two, new homes versus existing homes. It's a whole new ballgame. And finally, the bottom line is that we're seeing more houses hit the market at lower prices than we have in a very long time.
And that leaves us with one final and kind of scary question that affects millions of homeowners. If these huge builders keep slashing prices to chase after buyers, will regular homeowners who need to sell their house be forced to compete? Will they have to start cutting their prices too? That's the multi-trillion-dollar question that this whole gamble has forced us all to ask.